Again, 2 minutes for this question, and you will have 2 minutes to be able to come back and revisit it. Do you support the current system of funding that involves public funding at private schools? We know this as a voucher system. And we will start with Mr. Turney.
Okay, so as a school board member, I cannot impact, change, or affect the voucher program. The state tells us this is how much you're going to cut to vouchers, and we cut the check and it goes. So agreeing or disagreeing, it's an opinion. I see both sides of it. We're losing money out of our public schools to send kids of families who make less than $60,000 combined household income into a private school, and it's taking money out of us. Understand that? That's horrible. If I was a parent of a child and I had not a lot of money and my district was horrible where my kid went, and the opportunity like this existed, I would be grateful for it. If you look at MPS, look at over 40% of the students right now getting those vouchers are African American students. The other 35% are Hispanic students. These are underprivileged minority students getting these vouchers in the state of Wisconsin. Other states like New Mexico, it's wealthy, it's not, that voucher program is wealthy people getting wealthy cuts to wealthy schools, and it's not working the way it's supposed to. If you look at the state of Wisconsin, we don't do that. So a lot of the argument behind that, these vouchers are going to people who make less than $60,000, and large majority of these vouchers in urban districts are going to minority students. We have the biggest education gap in the state of Wisconsin between white and black students. Obviously, what we're doing isn't working, so until we figure that out, I can't justify telling a family who's in that spot, no, you can't have this voucher, even though it is taking money from us. So I'm torn on it. I'm not for it. I'm not against it. I just can't. I don't have impact on it as a board member. I can't control it. And this question keeps coming up, and it's something that I can't control. It's more of a political statement, I feel. That's my response to that.
Ms. Adams.
Absolutely opposed to the vouchers for private schools. And again, I'm a product of public schools. I am a member of the school board of a public school district. I cannot support funding for vouchers that go to private schools when those schools will accept students, and then shortly after the third Friday count, they will let them go and return them to our district, but they keep the money. And that's a trend and a practice that goes on all the time in Wisconsin. So, and then the rules are different. You know, I'm not opposed to private schools. I just want to make that clear. If you want to send your child to a private school, to a religious school, by all means, you can do that. And I don't have a problem with that. But I'm on the school board of a public school district, and our public funding is going to private schools, so I cannot support that. We need the funds in our schools, in our district, to help educate our children in our district, and that's why I'm opposed to it. And they get more money, as everybody knows. They actually get more money from the state per pupil than public schools do. So totally opposed, 100%. Not Yolanda Adams. I do not support vouchers.
Ms. Cullen?
I also am a very strong opponent to vouchers. I believe that public funds belong in public money and public schools. And especially if I am elected as a public school board member, I'm going to be a strong supporter of public funds going to public schools. And let me tell, the reason why is that private schools and vouchers, first of all, are taking about $7 million out of KUSD's district. $7 million of our taxpayers' money is going to private schools, which have no open meetings, no accountability, no elected school boards, no open records, all things that KUSD has so that the community has the opportunity to ask questions, to know what's going on, and to request things. It keeps us accountable and transparent, which we could use more of, but there is zero transparency or accountability for how the public funds are being used in private schools. So I am opposed to it. 75% of students were already going to private schools who access vouchers. And so we have choices within KUSD. Parents have choices. We have choice schools. We have, kids can go to schools outside their boundary schools. And the reimbursement is not equitable, as Ms. Adams had said. So, for example, special education in public schools, the state had said that we would get about 42-45%. In reality, it's about 30-some% because of, it's a fixed pot of money. And so when the public school districts start putting in their bills, they're like, oops, sorry, we don't have enough. But for the private schools, when they request reimbursement for special education, they get it back whatever they need, the 100%, so.
Thank you. Mr. Turney, anything to add?
Yeah, again, we cannot change this situation. So maybe we should, instead of focusing on vouchers, focus on making a better district so kids aren't leaving and using vouchers. That's what we control. And we haven't done a good enough job, obviously, for $7 million worth of vouchers to get out of our district. People are trying to leave because they're not happy with the schools that they're in. We have options. We have choice schools. We have all this stuff. I have plenty of people that I know that have pulled their kids out of our district because they don't feel heard. They don't feel like their problems are being addressed. The board doesn't answer their emails. Leadership doesn't look out for them. That's stuff that we control. So I appreciate the voucher question. Like I said, I'm not for it, I'm not against it, I don't have control of it. I'm focusing on what I can focus on and control on, and I really wish that that would be the focus of the entire board instead of focusing on political, money, stuff we cannot control. Control what you can control and do the best you can with what's in your reach. That's how I was always taught. And so I'm not gonna argue about it, I'm not gonna make a stance on it. I can't control it, I'm gonna focus on improving our situation for everybody so hopefully kids don't wanna leave and go to other schools.
Ms. Adams.
Yeah, just one, thank you. One last thing. I don't know if all the taxpayers or all the parents realize that our public school district pays the busing for the students that are getting the vouchers to go to the private schools. That's a humongous expense. So not only are the private schools getting more funding, we're paying for their busing. So, no, again, we cannot support vouchers as they stand right now. And it's wonderful to have those choices. You can choose public schools, you can choose a private school. Parents have all those choices. But vouchers are not working in Wisconsin. They're definitely not working in Kenosha Unified School District.
Ms. Cullen?
So why I understand what Bob is saying about let's control what we can control. I cannot sit on a public school board as an elected member and not publicly be against vouchers. What vouchers is doing is it is causing us to have to fund 2 school systems. And it is taking money from our public schools and is going to private schools that have no open meetings, no accountability, no elected school boards, no open records. And so I cannot sit on a board and say without a doubt that I am against vouchers. Now, do I agree with Bob that there are things that we could be doing better within the district? Obviously, that's why I ran for school board. But when it comes to the voucher question, I cannot be wishy-washy about it.
Thank you. Next question. There has recently been security decisions that have passed. What do you see about those decisions, and where do you see long-term security for schools? And we start with Ms. Adams.
Yes, very important topic is security. It's on everybody's mind. It's on parents, grandparents, neighbors, the safety of our children in our schools and the safety of all of us in any institution or any building in our lives. But Kenosha Unified, we did, some of us board members, Bob and myself included, did go on a tour of Hamilton High School in Milwaukee to see how they handle their metal detectors, and they have the full gamut. It's like walking into a prison. They have one checkpoint, then they have another checkpoint. I don't see us going that far. I don't even think that's a good idea for the mental health of our students to have to go through that much of a everything inspected and twice, and by the time they get to the class, they probably feel like they're at a prison. But we're definitely going to be adding security at all of the high schools. The board just voted on that this past month. It's a start. We would have been able to do more had the referendum passed. The referendum did not pass. It did have all the secured entrances to be remodeled in that referendum. So we've had a delay, but the board is very, very concerned about safety in our schools. And it is a start. So we're going to have the wanding and the devices to the metal detector devices that they walk through. That should be coming up in the next school year. And hopefully we can do more depending on the budget. And we were very fortunate in that our financial officer, Tarek Hamden, did make some connections, and we were able to visit the schools and see what we need in Kenosha Unified.
Ms. Cullen.
Yes, so security is a big issue that everyone is concerned about. I was pleased to see that the board did approve the metal detectors at the high school. However, metal detectors, and the research is really clear, that metal detectors are not our number one thing that keeps our students safe. Threat assessments are, and that the district has the see something, say something, and the team comes together when they hear about something and they do what's called a threat assessment. I'm the only one running, I believe, that's ever, I've been trained in threat assessments, I've conducted threat assessments. Threat assessments are what stopped the security issues that we had where a student reported that another student may have had a gun, they do a threat assessment. A student or a parent reports that student might do something, they do a threat assessment. That's our most important thing. The other thing, though, that we need to do is we need to look at the mental health. We need to figure out why are students coming to school and using violence to solve problems. We need more mental health. The recommendation from the School Counseling Association is that there's 250 students for every one school counselor. And I know just from looking at the public information that's on websites that our numbers are way higher in KUSD. Many of our school counselors have 300 to 400 students, which means that they're putting out fires. They're not being able to do proactive stuff such as conflict resolution, problem solving, helping kids develop resiliency. We also have to look out into the community. I was a little disappointed in some of the answers that some of the aldermen and supervisors gave when asked about childhood violence, that nobody was looking at.
Mr. Turney.
Okay, so the security kind of irritates me. I've been on the board for 2 years. We have 7 schools that still do not have 7 controlled entrances. That's been an ongoing issue for a decade. Me and Sabrina went and talked to Tarek after the referendum failed and the Roosevelt incident. Boom, we got a loan. Now the 7 entrances are getting built right now. After the Roosevelt incident, me and Sabrina also went out to Bayview, and we went out to the same school. We went to 2 schools in Milwaukee, looked at their weapons detection systems, how they operated, started a safety committee, pitched it to the safety committee, got pricing, had everything lined up. You can lease them, had everything ready to go. The police officers on the committee were like 100%. The district leadership said no. Then now we have a gun incident. All of a sudden, district leadership was like, oh God, we got to get these. Yeah, we could already have them. Safety is multifaceted, like Robin's saying. You need multiple layers of this, mental health, everything. Racine has metal detectors, had them for 7, 8 years. Milwaukee's been doing it for 20 years. We have no way to stop a gun from entering our buildings. How does that happen? How do we get to this point? We had a kid murdered in 2017, stabbed to death in a cafeteria in our schools, and did nothing. That really drives me nuts. And when you have children in the district like I do, and you worry about them dying at school, or your sister getting shot at school, it puts a little bit more oomph behind you. And I feel like our board just, everything's fine. No, it's not. People are scared. Bradford can't find substitute teachers right now because they're scared to go there. We need to be proactive, and we're always reactive to situations, and this is why nobody trusts us, and it's why the referendum didn't fail, or it's why the referendum failed, and the referendum didn't have the security. It only had shatterproof resistant glass and other safety measures on it. It did not have weapons detection systems on the referendum. It did not have the 7 secure entrances on the referendum. That was not on the referendum. So everybody keeps saying that. No, read the referendum. Go back and look at it. So that's why I've been irritated. We got it done. And that was mainly me and Sabrina. And I'm the only board member who has pulled security into Kuwait, Iraq, who has pulled security in very dangerous situations. I actually have experience in stopping this kind of thing from happening. It's frustrating when nobody listens to you, though. So that's my take on that.
Thank you. Ms. Adams, for your rebuttal.
Okay, first of all, it takes more than 2 board members to pass anything, so credit goes to more than 2 board members. The district has been involved in the Stop the Gun Violence Summit. It was in its about 4th year, held in Milwaukee. And we did send a delegation of students and administrators and educators to the Gun Violence Summit. Kenosha Unified is considered one of the top districts as it relates to safety and progressiveness on this topic. That was announced at the Gun Violence Summit. The district has been looking at those schools, those 7 schools that were left that needed the secured entrances were very costly. We did it to all the other schools, so there was action taken. The school district did take care of those other entrances where it could be done. These last 7 were just too expensive, and that's why they were part of the referendum that failed. And actually, the 2 board members that are pushing this so far were against the referendum when it had that in there. So I just want to say that I think our district has done the best it can do, and it's going to do more. It's really tough. I've been on for 7 years, and we've had a $15 million to $19 million deficit year after year after year because of the lack of funding from the state. Had we got adequate funding, we could have done some of these things. But yes, top of the priority list is safety and securing these schools, and we should be taking care of that as much as we can. And it has been elevated because of the recent incidents, not only in our district but in the country. It's not just happening here; it's happening everywhere. So we're all concerned, and we're all going to do something about it.
Ms. Cullen.
Okay, so a couple things. I agree. Having been a public school educator for 35 years, I remember the days when schools were unlocked. We just walked in, offices were in the middle of the building, you wandered around till you found it, and it's very different. I personally have not worked in a building that didn't have a controlled entrance for a very long time. So I do agree that I don't understand why we still have buildings without controlled entrances. That is something that we need to take care of. However, having said that, while I agree that we need metal detectors and we need secured entrances, stopping guns from entering our schools doesn't stop violence. And we need to look at what causes violence. And so that includes mental health. It includes looking at housing insecurity, food insecurity, and mental health. Those are all issues that are driving violence in our community. We need to be working with our aldermen and our county supervisors, and we need to be looking at those issues. Kids that have housing insecurity, food insecurity, are more likely to have mental health issues and to be for there to be more violence. We need to teach our kids conflict resolution. We need to teach them how to be resilient when, because they're gonna get knocked down, and how to get back up, and how to solve problems peacefully. We need to create a climate within our schools that kids want to come to school, and they want to come and they want to treat each other with kindness and feel that they belong. Our students need to feel belong. Kids that feel like they belong are not going to want to come and commit violence. So while I'm all for the security and making sure that guns don't get in, that it is a much bigger issue than that, and it's one that we need to be talking a lot more about the other facets of it.
And Mr. Cherney.
Go back to gym and recess for mental health, like I said. That's what we can actually do. Referendum, I did vote no. I voted personally yes at the ballot box, but as a board member, we hired Davis Demographic to give us information about the referendum. The information we had data in that That data said 65 and older is the voting group you want to go to, 51% chance to pass at the lowest level of money that was offered in the 3 scenarios. We added money to that first scenario for prep time. If you looked at the data, I called it out, you can go back to it, 46% chance it was going to fail. It failed at 40, we had the information in our hands to say it wasn't going to pass. Of course we needed the money. If it's not going to pass, why would you go for that? Now it locks us into 3 years of per pupil rating. There's penalties to failing a referendum. So yes, I voted no, if that was your dig, but that's because I was using data-driven. I made a data-driven decision, and I was accurate with that. I don't know how the district can do food insecurity upkeep or improve that. We already feed breakfast and lunch. I wouldn't be opposed to after-school programs with dinner. I'm not opposed to that. I don't know what else we could do for food. It's just, it does take the whole entire board to get this stuff passed. The stuff would never be on the agenda if it wasn't for me and Sabrina, is what I was getting at. It would never be a vote because nobody else is doing anything proactively to take care of security. So yes, the board voted for it. Of course they're going to vote for it, especially during campaign season, and a gun was just in their schools. Obviously they're going to vote for it. They didn't vote for anything or come up with anything after a kid was killed, but now they'll do it. So it does take a whole entire board, but it wouldn't have gotten there without specific people pushing it very hard.
I sincerely apologize as we're almost out of time. I've got another 15 questions I would love to ask you. I am going to ask for a 1-minute closing statement from each of you, keeping in the rotation. Ms. Cullen, I will ask you to do first.
Oh, yay. So I am the only candidate running who is an actual educator. I've been one for 35 years. I'm also a licensed clinical psychotherapist. So I know mental health. I know that our kids are struggling with mental health, and so are our teachers. I know the questions to ask when the administration brings stuff forward to the board. The board is in charge of budget. They're in charge of approving policy. And they hire and fire the superintendent. So I know what questions to ask when things get brought forward, because I've been in the classroom. I know that what's happening with our students, and I live it every single day.
Thank you. Mr. Turney?
All right, thanks again for having us for this forum. I know you can tell I'm getting a little fired up here. I have children in the district. I feel like I'm the only candidate that has children in this district. I see the problems with my children's education and my friends' children's education. I'm a little bit younger, which doesn't have anything to do with it, but I have different insight into our district. My sister's getting her butt kicked at Lance. My cousin's getting her butt kicked over at Abzola. Like, there's a different level of this is our future. This is my children's future. This is the future of Kenosha. It's the future of this country. I'm gonna push, and I'm gonna be loud, and I might make people mad. I'm doing it to get things done. Sometimes there's a thing called good chaos. If you're pushing chaos and it's creating good outcomes, you're doing the right thing. If administration isn't liking me and they're getting very mad at me and putting a target on my head, I'm probably going in the right direction. I think we honestly should be looking at firing the superintendent, and I think we have some very, very weak leadership at the top of our district that is really causing a lot of the problems, and I don't think we have a board willing to pull the trigger and make hard, right decisions and force the superintendent, either do your job or find a different one. So I appreciate everybody's time, and thank you for having me.
And Ms. Adams?
Wow. That's hard to follow, but we all have our own credentials up here. For me, I'm the experienced board member. I have been a CEO running Kenosha Racing nonprofit. I've been a chief financial officer for corporate America and nonprofit organizations. Kenosha Unified is going through some very, very difficult years. And this takes somebody with experience and that's serious about saving taxpayers' money and improving our schools and ensuring that our students graduate. This is not the time for somebody new, and we lead by example. So when we talk about violence of our students, how our students are violent or misbehaving in school, and we are not the role models that are showing a level head, that is showing these students that you should be treating each other kind and with respect, that you treat your employees, including the superintendent, with respect, then how can we expect them to be good students and model students that their peers will follow? So I just want to close by saying I hope that whoever gets on the school board will be a team-oriented person. No, we won't always agree. It's good. We're all different. But we have to treat each other with respect, and we have to treat all of our employees from the top to the bottom as professionals and with respect. And I intend to continue to do that for the rest of my time on the school board.
Thank you so much. I'd like to thank all of our candidates for school board present for participating in the forum this evening. But most of all, we at WGTD would like to thank you for taking the time to be able to watch this. Remember, everyone get out and vote. Good night, everybody.